Today, I'm going to answer a question I think could help many late beginners as well as early intermediate lifters. I thought this could be an interesting topic to talk about because I'm actually going through the same issue and I'd like to share what I'm currently doing to address lagging arm development. Let's take a look at this gentleman's comment. I am very good at both pull-ups and chin-ups and have even progressed to doing a few muscle-ups. Congratulations, my man! However, my arms/biceps don't really seem to grow and reflect my strength with these exercises. My back/lats look pretty good, but my biceps seem to be lagging a lot in comparison. Should I incorporate isolation work like bicep curls with dumbbells? Because I never do those, LOL. I'd say absolutely, go for it. You should definitely include single joint movements to target lagging areas. Besides, based on your comment, it seems like you're way past the newbie gains phase and you are at a more intermediate level of strength. That's the moment where you need to change things up in your training to keep moving forward. Don't make the mistake of not including smaller exercises in your program. In fact, a minimalist approach to training will be suboptimal to develop certain body parts that don't respond as well as others. I actually have a very similar experience. The person who wrote this comment, quote-unquote, never does bicep curls. My problem, however, was of different nature but produced the same results, aka underdeveloped arms. I did in fact include isolation work, but I would treat single joint movements as second-class exercises, if you will. I thought of them as a nice bonus to finish a workout with, but never as a mandatory tool to spur growth in localized areas. That has been one of my major regrets in my muscle building journey. I would put all my brain power and physical energy to get stronger at multi-joint exercises only, which is the smart thing to do at the start, by the way. There is no denying that those type of exercises are going to be the best bang for your buck in terms of overall mass development. But the truth of the matter is that mechanical tension gets dispersed across multiple muscle groups, and depending on your genetics, muscle fiber type distribution, muscle insertions, anthropometry, etc., smaller muscles like the triceps and biceps might not get the type of stimulatory tension that would cause hypertrophy. Big compound lifts should definitely be a staple in your program, but these type of exercises will only take you so far in terms of muscle building if you have average genetics, just like me. Given that the biggest genetic group is by default average, the majority of you should ignore bigger and popular YouTubers who prescribe a compound lift only approach to get bigger arms.
I'm not telling you can't do your curls, I'm just saying that there are more efficient ways to get the results that you are looking for, so I don't want you to waste your time. What do you think is putting more stress on your bicep? A weighted pull-up with 200 pounds hanging around your waist, or a 50-pound dumbbell curl? In my opinion, doing those tier 1 big compound movements is going to put way more mass on your arms than any isolation exercise ever.
Because this is likely not going to apply to you. And I had to learn this lesson the hard way, if I'm completely honest with you. I did follow the advice of bigger fitness influencers here on YouTube whose arms would respond really well to heavy compound lifts. But this isn't particularly helpful for someone like me. As a result, I would do single joint movements only at the end of my workouts when I was already very fatigued from the bigger lifts. So I would always be exhausted by the time I hit smaller exercises, unable to display the same level of aggression and commitment in every set. It's just impossible to give your 100% effort after you've been lifting for over an hour. On top of that, I did not have a clear path towards progression on these because of my personal bias towards bigger movements. So very guilty of this misallocation of energy and minimalist mindset. In the video where I share my year-over-year strength progress in the squat, bench and deadlift, I came to the following conclusion. An area I could get better at is to add more weekly volume for my arm training. I thoroughly enjoy working on progressing big compound movements, but perhaps I haven't approached single joint exercises with the same mindset. I need to correct that. You gotta be brutally honest with yourself if you want to keep making progress after you're done with the newbie gains phase. So identifying individual weak points and coming up with a proper strategy to tackle those is exactly what I'm currently doing. And this is the same prescription I'd recommend to the guy who posted this question. Now it's time to have a look at the 5 changes I've introduced in my training to blow up my arms. The first change has been to include a specific arm day into my weekly split. This has transpired into an actual 35 to 45 minute arm session in the middle of the week where I get to work on my biceps and triceps from the get-go. Fresh, full of energy and ready to crush every set. If I have a super crazy week and can't complete the prescribed arm day, I would do a quick second session in the evening to make sure that my arms get sufficient quality training volume. The main reason for an arm day is to avoid hitting my biceps and triceps in a highly fatigued state where I can't truly train these muscles properly. A quick caveat here, I still train my arms at the end of a training session, but I have shortened my workout slightly. That way I leave sufficient energy in the tank to be able to attack curls or skull crushers with the same intent as I would squats or deadlifts, for example. I recently posted this video where I shared my current pull routine. Aside from explaining why any other exercise order would not have made much sense in the context of maximizing muscle growth, this workout showcases two key distinctions from my previous mesocycle. The first one is that I only do 2 compound lifts before the arm-specific section at the end. And the second one is that I have intentionally used lighter intensities during these compound lifts in the first few weeks of this current training block. This experimentation phase has provided me an opportunity to gauge how hard I should train big movements before fatigue becomes detrimental to my performance during isolation exercises. In the past, I would have done 3 compound lifts at higher intensities before curls. The problem with that approach is that by the time I got down to doing curls, I was utterly fried, and this would negatively affect my weight choice and performance in these single joint movements. The third thing I've done to address lagging arms has been to evolve my perspective on single joint movements. Yes, I understand that smaller exercises might not be as important to build a solid strength foundation at the start, but they gradually gain relevance over time. Not committing to isolation work could in many cases expose weak points, and sometimes the best tool to correct localized weakness or lagging areas is in fact single joint movements. This mindset reset has led me to a more strategic approach in terms of progression, and I'm finally treating smaller movements like I would compound lifts, tracking my progress and increasing the weights whenever I can complete 12 repetitions with relatively ease and only a small degree of body English. The fourth change has happened organically as a result of point number 3. Now that the weights are getting quite heavy, I have fully embraced the compensatory momentum my body produces to help me overcome the resistance. Please don't get me wrong, I continue to use clean form for as long as I can during the set, but I no longer shy away from a little dose of swinging here and there, even if it turns a single joint movement into a compound. My previous self would have been too dogmatic about quote-unquote pristine form. Now I'm a little bit more flexible on that. Yes, form is important and you should learn proper technique patterns at the start, but once the movement is very familiar to you and you're confident about your technique, I am of the opinion that intensity has to take preference over perfect form during smaller exercises, especially if this is completely safe for the trainee and is not highly fatiguing. And the fifth major change I have implemented in my current mesocycle as a natural consequence of the things I've discussed so far in this video is that I have increased the training frequency of my arms. So I've gone from training my biceps and triceps directly 1 to 2 times per week in a highly fatigued state and with rather underwhelming weights to hit my arms 2 to 3 times. Now I train these muscles full of energy on my arm day and also in a way less fatigue condition at the end of my workouts. Full disclosure, I am currently using weighted dips and skull crushers to grow my triceps, and I'm going all in with barbell curls to hit the biceps, alternating between heavy and moderate days. The former more conducive to mechanical tension and cheating reps, the latter better suited for more isolation and metabolic stress. So these are all the small tweaks I've implemented into my training since the beginning of 2021, and I can already see the difference after 2 months. Guns are popping! Don't make the same mistake I made prior. Treat your curls, tricep pushdowns, skull crushers, and all this type of isolation work like compound lifts and go relatively heavy. Chasing the pump feels absolutely amazing, I totally get it. but you shouldn't be relying on metabolic stress to grow your arms. Attack your biceps and triceps 2 to 3 times per week and make sure to present sufficient mechanical tension to these smaller muscle groups. If you do that consistently for the next few months, you'll see a massive difference in your arm development. I hope this helps. Alright peeps of the interweb, I really hope you found value in today's video. If you learned something new and you want to show me some appreciation, which is very welcome by the way, go ahead and smash the like button, consider subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click on the bell to get notified every time a new video goes live.